I typed at announcements for some reason, not at everyone. At everyone. I got arrested for fishing. Story time. Who up fishing? They fish for real, on God, on baby, on John, my mom, on Big Sean. I wanna be found. Hi, lesbian dino nerd. Hi, pigeon on a chair. What is that title? What's the title of stream today? Is my title dumb? Did I make a bad stream title today?
AVNJ Spinfish.
Hi, Zebtech. How are you today? Oh, yeah. Got arrested. True. Mugshot? No, I don't have a mugshot, unfortunately. No mugshot. Hey, Nate. I wish I had a mugshot. That'd be sick. That'd be a good Instagram post. You gonna be in jail for fish crimes? Unfortunately, no. Or I guess fortunately, no. I evaded prosecution for my fish crimes. AVNJ crime arc. If you think that crime is new to me, I have bad news for you. And did nothing wrong. Free my man. I'm free, don't worry. No, I'm not wearing a jumpsuit. This is unfortunate timing on the clothing, but I swear I'm not in a jumpsuit. What did AVNJ do? You know. I'll tell you. I got a whole story to tell, chat. I got a whole story to tell. Why is he absolutely not centered? I'm never centered on this view. I could center myself if it bothers you that much. It's not hard to fix. I've never been centered on this view. It's never been my thing. Hi, Mini Bisco. How's Mala taking it? Me getting arrested? Prison cut. Why is your beard so thick? What are you talking about? I literally shaved today. I have no beard. Bro ended a pupfish species. Dude, my next video, I made the Death Valley pupfish go extinct. Thank you, Mothracore. Yeah, I literally shaved today. I don't have a beard right now. Thank you, I love AVNJ 69420. That's a great message that you've sent in chat there. Hi, Maizute. They let you leave with the jumpsuit? No, they did not. This is of my own accord. I think Twitch is against parole. I'm not on parole, you fucks. I didn't get arrested that bad. I didn't get persecuted. It's not a jumpsuit, you fucks. Jesus. Hi, what the fuck is the caption tell now? Well, I have a story to tell. I have two stories to tell. I have a story to tell from 2 weekends ago when I got arrested. And then I have the story to tell from last weekend when I went to Virginia on a fishing trip. So I've got two stories to tell. We'll start with the arrested story though. Get a blue shirt, it would look better than bright orange. I mean, I agree because my eyes are blue. So blue tends to complement better, but this is just the color that I am wearing today. I don't have to wear the exact same color every day. I recognize that it is unfortunate timing that it looks like I'm wearing a jumpsuit when I'm talking about going to jail. How's Mala doing? She's good. She's eating right now. No, the color was not intentional. Just unfortunate timing. I did not violate the Geneva Conventions, I think. Show the ankle monitor. I am not going to show the ankle monitor. Nope, not a jumpsuit. Really unfortunate timing. Everyone calling it a jumpsuit. All right. Shall we start with story time, chat? Shall we have a bit of story time? You want to see Mala? After she's done eating, she'll probably go lay in the bed right there. So. All right. Let me get up the supporting information that I need to show you guys. Should have worn a black and white striped shirt. I wasn't trying to look like I got arrested, you fucks. Yeah, Mala posted bail for me. Shout out, Mala. She's the GOAT. You're not going to show the ankle monitor, so you have an ankle monitor? Oh my god. Okay, I only have a few photos. Actually, I have 2 photos from the night. So there's a lot of things that happened on this night, alright? You fucks is our chat name. Your hair is shaved and you're wearing bright orange. Okay, well, my hair has been shaved for like a year now. I just wear a lot of hats. The bright orange, admittedly, is new. Alright, shall we begin? Lego City prison uniform. Lego City prison uniform is so funny. Everything is awesome. Okay. Anyways, did the cop take your hats? Yes. This was 2 weeks ago, Maizute. I just haven't streamed in a bit. No, don't make AVN jail art. You guys are ridiculous. I'm trying to tell the damn story. Oh my god. Okay. You look like you're gonna shank someone on the lunch line. Dude, half of this video is gonna be chat making fun of me. Parole officer reveal. I will say, you guys are extra funny today. You guys are usually not this funny. You guys are usually not this funny, so I will give you that. That's pretty good. There's no ankle monitor. We don't need any avian jail art. There's no mugshot. Was the band-aid from the prison fights? No. You know what's fucked up? I spent the last 2 days urban climbing. Well, not, I didn't spend the whole days, but I spent time urban climbing. So like train bridges, rock walls, that kind of thing. All like outside man-made structures. And didn't get injured at all. No issues, even though that's, you know, it's not like dangerous, but it's not great. And, you know, it's a lot of like loose rock and sharp stuff. No injuries on my fingers, you know, just like the typical skin coming off and all that. And then I get home today and I go to shave and I cut my finger shaving. After being dumb and climbing all day, I injure my fingers by shaving. I don't have fish prison tattoos. No, Nima, it does not stand for Angry Video Nerd James. Though I've gotten that comment many times, so I might as well change it at this point. You sure it's not from the barbed wire? Chat, had I gone to prison and then escaped prison, I would not have gone home and first thing I did streamed. Is this why you haven't streamed for a bit? No, I always don't stream for a bit. You must be new here. That's my schedule. I stream once like every 2 weeks, fish related, so that I could make enough content for videos, and then I stop streaming until I need more YouTube video content. They take away your fish as part of the parole. No parole, and no. No, I did not cut myself making a shank out of a razor. Someone finally got arrested for taking the free ducks at the park. How do we know you're not in jail with the green screen behind you? I don't know, man. See? So you're using us for views? What do you think being a content creator is? What do you mean using you for views? CGI! You think I prepared a CGI of me throwing my... Okay. Isn't there people on TikTok that stream or people in prison that stream on TikTok? Yeah, probably. It disappeared. It didn't disappear. You're using the stream to pay for bail. If I needed bail, I would not stream. So far this stream, I have gotten 2 subs. That's a total of $5, chat. I've been streaming for 10 minutes and I have made $5 that I was going to make even if I didn't stream, because those people always sub monthly. This is not, I would not stream to post bail. $5 bail for fish crime. You're rich. What's your cell number? I'll visit. How is Mala taking you being arrested and all? Mala, how do you feel that Daddy's a criminal? She's nose deep in her dinner right now. She could not care less what I say. I'll break you out if you go to prison again. I didn't go to prison. Let's be clear. I did not go to prison. No, your $2.50 is not going to bail, Zebtech. You can't take all the snakeheads. I think it'd be rewarded for taking the snakeheads, not punished. Send that painting so you can decorate your cell. All right, well, I'm trying to tell the story, Rebel, but chat won't stop saying bad things. I thought Mala was your girlfriend. No, just a cat. She'd be a chill girlfriend, though. She just kind of hangs out and wants to eat food twice a day and otherwise is down to just cuddle or sleep. Pretty ideal, to be honest. Alright, shall I tell the story? Are you guys gonna stop being bad listeners now? I kind of want the chapstick, but I'll deal. Okay. 2 people who hadn't chatted yet did their first time chats to say yes. Okay. An ad break started. An ad break started automatically the instant I was about to start telling the story. That's so funny. Well, that's what you get for not subscribing. Oh, wait, guys. Everyone who subscribed, pretend like I'm telling the story. And then and everyone in chat, like, who can hear me right now, laugh and be like, oh my god, that's so funny. Everyone be like, holy shit, no way. Oh my god. So I'm telling the story right now, and you guys are all going crazy, because the people who are watching the ads can't hear me. And they're getting so upset because they can't. Yeah, I know, it was crazy. And it's like, yeah, shout out to all the people watching the ads right now. Everyone in chat reacting like crazy. That's crazy. I know, it's like, you know.
Poggers.
All right, chat, get ready. I'm about to tell a hilarious joke. You ready, chat? All right, everyone say lol in 3, 2, 1, go. Laugh. I just told a crazy joke. All right, are people back from their ads yet? Have the ads finished yet? Thank you, Crom, for the sub. Have ads finished yet? Yes, I'm back. I loved the ads. Okay, let's begin the story. Okay, so the story begins on the night of Thursday, April something, probably like 2 weeks ago on a Thursday. I decided that I was going to attend a Melee tournament, a tournament for Super Smash Bros. Melee. Okay, this is a video game that I play and compete in. You don't need to know anything about it. Just know that there are tournaments that happen in various places. And I hadn't been to South Jersey in a while, and there was a tournament happening at Rowan University in South Jersey. And so I decided to go down to South Jersey for the tournament. And I make the drive down. It's about 2 hours. I show up to the place, get it, ready to play. It's like 7 o'clock, which is when the tournament's supposed to start. There's no one there. And I'm very confused. So I text the person in charge of the tournament, and they're like, oh, actually, the tournament is on Fridays, not on Thursdays. So I had driven 2 hours to South Jersey to play Melee, just to arrive at the tournament ready to play like an idiot, when it was actually not even today and no one was there. So that is the beginning of the night. And now I'm like, it's late at night and I'm in South Jersey, and the whole reason that I came here is not going to happen. So I thought, you know what? Like any fish man would do, I will make this trip to South Jersey worth it by fishing instead. I'll go check out some spots for fish, and I'll just make the most of the trip and pretend that it had been a fishing trip the whole time, and we'll just totally forget about the whole Melee thing, all right? So I decided to go fishing. The first thing I decided to try was this beautiful creek that flows into the Maurice River, okay? This is this big South Jersey Pine Barrens River. It has a lot of unique species and a lot of really cool stuff. I've fished there a lot. And Scotland Run is this creek way up the Maurice River that I wanted to try. You know, it would be the furthest north records of all of the things that are in that river. And now it's pretty common that I trespass. Now, I know I'm admitting to a crime live on stream, but it's, you know, trespassing is an individualistic thing. It happens pretty often, whether on purpose or not. People sometimes don't label their property, and then it's very easy to trespass without knowing. And then sometimes you want to get into a stream and you kind of have to like briefly cross someone's property. Because the way the laws work in New Jersey is that if you're in the stream, typically, as long as it's not like owned on both sides by a private property owner, the stream itself is public property, okay? Which means that if I can get into the stream through public property, I can stay in the stream and walk up and down it, as long as I don't go onto the sides of the stream, you know, the banks. So sometimes that happens, but this creek was great. It was in a park. It was really good. I explored the creek. I found tons of cool stuff, lots of species I didn't necessarily expect to be there. Didn't find everything that I, you know, didn't find everything that I was expecting to find, but whatever. I did find, and this is the worst picture of it, and you'll find out soon why this is such a terrible picture, but I did take a picture with my phone of this northern red salamander, which is pretty cool. Caught him, probably the oldest, like, non-adult that I've caught, oldest larval northern red salamander that I've seen. So that's pretty cool. Found a bunch of cool fish. And then I decided to try for something interesting after this, because I'm looking at my pins on Google Maps and I'm thinking, where can I go next that'll be worthwhile? And there's this lake in South Jersey called Silver Lake. And Silver Lake is famous for only one thing. Some time ago, someone released swamp eels, Asian swamp eels, into this lake. Who knows why or how? Maybe they had them in aquariums. I don't know. But this lake has swamp eels in it, okay? And the government has been trying to kill all of the eels and cut off the lake completely. Like, fishing is totally banned. They built multiple dams around it, removed hiking trails, did all of this stuff so no one could find the swamp eels. And it's been pretty successful because there is not one post of swamp eel in New Jersey on iNaturalist. And they've provided no public updates. Like, you can't search online swamp eel New Jersey and find an update past like 2012. Okay, so I wasn't even sure if they were there, but I was like, this would be something cool to find for the first time and put on iNaturalist, get another New Jersey first on iNaturalist. So I went and fished that lake for a while in that creek, and the creeks above and below that lake are like questionably private property. They're like public property, but the government clearly doesn't want you going there because they don't want swamp eels to be transferred. So that was like pretty sketchy overall. I didn't catch any swamp eels. I did get in contact with someone recently who said that the eels are still there. So I will be trying again, and I might make a YouTube video adventuring for the swamp eels because I think that would be really cool, trying to rediscover them. This is not where the story ends though, because of course it's like midnight. I should just head home, okay? But I was like, you know what? I'll try one more spot for swamp eel before I go home. I'll try one little spot. And I look on Google Maps and I do the thing that I normally do, where I go on Google Maps and I just kind of scroll along a river and look for somewhere that I could get into, like I said, through public property, get into the creek, get into the river, because once I'm in it, I'm good, okay? And I found this like cul-de-sac at the end of a road. So it's the end of a road on Google Maps, and then there's a little bit of forest, and then it's the river. And I saw, that's perfect. There were no houses on this cul-de-sac. It was just an area that people turned around in. So presumably it was no one's property. These were like unbuilt, land that people were going to build houses on, but they had not yet done so. Thin bit of forest. I thought, great. I pull in the cul-de-sac. There are no signs anywhere that says like private property or anything of that sort. Okay. I wander into the forest, and pretty soon I realize I've made a mistake, because the river is like, 50 feet in front of me, and I am just in feet of mud, like 2 to 3 feet of mud. Like the mud is up to here on me, or like even, somewhere up to here at certain steps. I'm just totally in the mud. It is not fun. Okay. But I'm like, you know what? I came here. I'm going to wander. I'm going to try to catch a swamp eel. And so I just keep powering forward. And about 10 minutes into powering through the mud, I have a realization. I don't know where my camera is. I normally keep my camera in the front pocket on my waders, okay? And I don't know where it went. My pocket is open and the camera is not there. Now keep in mind, this is a $550 to $600 camera. It's waterproof. So it's not a big deal for it to fall into the mud, but I don't know where it is. And so I say, okay, don't panic. We're just going to backtrack. We're going to take the exact path I can go back, okay? It's really easy to tell where you came from in feet of mud because there's giant footprints in the mud. And so say, okay, I'll just follow the way back to my car and hopefully find the camera. Well, I follow the path back. I don't find the camera. I come back the way I came. Don't find the camera. I do this over and over again for over an hour and a half because not only is this camera worth $500, $600. Yes, this is in the middle of the night, Angie. Not only is this camera worth $500, $600, but it has all of my pictures from the night. All of the fish that I've caught tonight, all the bugs, the salamander that I took better pictures of, has all of my photos. The only surviving photos from the night are this salamander that I took with my phone because I sent it to a friend, and this rabbit that I took with my phone. Those are the only two surviving photos from the night because I never found that camera. I can only assume. I tested, all right? I had tested with one of my headlamps. I dropped it in the mud and watched it. It didn't sink into the mud. Like, it didn't just, like, sink and get eaten by the mud. It stayed on top, which makes me think that what actually must have happened is I had to have been leaning like this. The camera fell out of the front pocket, and then I stepped on it. Or like it fell into one of the holes where my foot was. Like, that's the only way it could have gotten actually buried and unfindable in the mud. So that was an absolutely awful experience. I've lost all of my photos from the night. I've lost $500, $600 in the camera. I'm feeling like total shit. Need a new camera, all of these things. I'm feeling like total shit. And it's right then, in my lowest moments, that I see lights flashing into the forest from the road. I see two lights, not headlamps, like flashlights, shining into the forest. And I hear people talking. And I go, oh, dude. I was like, oh, no, after all of this. Because I wanted to keep looking for a little while longer, but I was like, I can't just avoid, that. Because presumably when someone's shining lights in the forest at nighttime, it's usually police. So I wander back up, and I'm like halfway up the hill, and they're like, come out of the forest, or something like that. Come out of the forest, we need to speak to you. And I'm like, that's what I'm doing. That's the goal here. I'm trying to get back to my car. It's just a little muddy. It's gonna take me a while. I'm in like 2 feet of mud right now. They're like, hurry up. And I'm like, I am in 2.5 feet of mud right now. I can't get to you any faster than I already am without face planting into this mud. And so I make it out of the forest, and there's 2 police officers there and a local resident, and they start talking to me about trespassing and being on other people's property. And I was like, well, okay, hold on. I said this, I don't mean it. I don't purposefully trespass. Typically. There are rare exceptions, but in this case, I did not purposely trespass. There were no signs that said it was private property. So I said that to them. I said, there were no signs here that it said it was private property. And they turn around and point at a sign right on the forest edge that says, posted private property, no trespassing. And I'm like, ooh, I missed that one. And that's honest. I genuinely missed that one. I always look for no trespassing signs. And the only time I will risk trespassing is if I think there's a really low chance of being caught and it's something that I actually really want. Okay? This was a case of I didn't care that much. I would not have trespassed here had I known. I thought this was free range. I've parked at the end of streets before with no issue. But I missed the sign this time. They're like, yeah, so you're trespassing on someone's property in the middle of the night. And I'm like, yeah, okay. No, I see your point. And then they're like talking to me about trespassing and, how you can't be doing that and all that and lecturing me and all that. And then they're like, is this your vehicle here? Because my car is parked at the end of the road. And they're like, is this your vehicle here? And I'm like, yeah, that's my car. And they're like, your registration's expired, so we should tow the car. And I was like, well, what do you mean? I'm in South Jersey, 2 hours from my house. And so I asked them, I was like, when did the registration expire? I didn't even know that my registration had expired on my car. So I asked them, when is the registration expired? It was yesterday. It was the day before I drove to South Jersey. My registration had expired. And the way that that stuff typically works is that you get a physical thing in the mail, a little form in the mail that reminds you to re-update your registration, to renew your registration. I did not get that because it got sent to my parents' address and not where I live. So I never knew that my registration was running out. And so thus my registration expired one day before I am confronted trespassing in the middle of, mud forest in South Jersey. So they're like, all right, well, we're going to have to take you back to the station and record this whole event because the property owner is pissed. The property owner is like, gunslinging private property, don't touch my whatever type of American. So they're like, they need to do that. We get back to police station and they're like, all right, if we're being honest with you, we needed to put on a little bit of a show for the sake of that that homeowner who didn't want people on his property, but they're like, but we don't actually need to persecute you in any way, just don't trespass and renew the registration as soon as you get home on your car. So they ended up being cool about it in the end, but they put on a bit of a show for the property owner and didn't tell me that. So I got driven back to the station thinking I was getting arrested and going to jail. And then we get there and they're like, well, don't do that again, kiddo. So that was my Thursday. How was you guys' Thursday? Maybe the homeowner should have put down much more visible signs instead of just one. This feels like victim blaming. It's not the homeowner's fault that I trespassed. Just say you do important research as a member of the High Fish Society. Did they even ask you why you were in the middle of the mud walking over and over? Yeah, I think they were sympathetic to me because as I wandered out of the mud forest, they were asking me and like why I was there. And I was like, I'll be honest with you guys, I was looking for fish. But I walked in the forest about 5 minutes, dropped a $600 camera and spent the last hour and a half looking for it and did not find it. That was like my opener. And so they could clearly tell that I was already miserable and had just, lost a lot. If I came in and I was like, I was trespassing, happy fish day, whatever, I think they may have taken a bit less pity. So I think they took some pity on me, but, 'twas rough. 'Twas rough nonetheless. All the way up until I got to the station, I was fairly sure that I was going to be persecuted for trespassing. So is it illegal to look for these invasive fish? No, it's not illegal to look for them, but the government has cut off a bunch of land nearby that you're not allowed to go to, and you're not allowed to fish the waters that they're known to be in. So you have to kind of like look outside that range, basically, which is what I tried to do. Ironically, the last spot that I went to was the least illegal spot that I tried in that night, and that's the one where I get arrested. No, they had me drive Fisher so that I didn't leave my car on that street on the guy's property. What was the worst part, the police or the loss of the camera? You know what's crazy? I was thinking about that in bed that night. Yes, they did not tow my car. They were nice about it. They just said, go home and renew your registration immediately. When I sat home in bed that night, I was like feeling like shit. I was like, I just had one of the worst days I've had in a really long time. And I thought about it and I was like, what is upsetting me? Like, what emotionally am I upset about right now? And it's not what you'd think. That you'd think, okay, you're upset, you got arrested and had this confrontation and all that. And it's like, no, I don't really care. I've had to deal with police many times for trespassing, it's not a big deal. Okay. And then the next obvious conclusion is like, you lost a $500 camera. And honestly, the more that I thought about it, I don't think that's what I was upset about. I didn't care that much. Like, it really sucks to lose that and lose that money, because that's just lost money. I have to get a new camera. I use that camera every day. Okay, so like I have to get a new camera, so I've just lost $500. It just is what it is, right? And that really sucks. But that's just like I don't know, it's a financial hit, okay? And then I'm like, okay, well, if I'm not upset about that, what am I upset about? And what I was upset about in the end, I found out, is the photos that were on the camera. The whole night of photos that I had taken at all these places. I had spent the whole night fishing, and it all felt like a waste because I had absolutely nothing. My God, my nose is so itchy. What the fuck? So, I determined that what I was upset about was losing all of that data, losing all of those nice photos that I had taken, all the time that I had put into fishing and finding all of these things, and then, you know, getting nothing. My God, I'm annoyed. So, what I did instead was on iNaturalist, you can actually post things without having like photo or audio evidence. It's casual forever, you know, it can never be confirmed. But I just posted all of this so that the data existed. Every every fish that I remembered seeing, like various frogs that I remembered seeing, that kind of thing, the salamander, I just put those all on iNaturalist without anything. So they're not verifiable, but at least the data is still there. I would be madder about walking for an hour and a half in the mud. Bro, that's my typical weeknight. What are you talking about? Dude. My nose. It's fucked up. Someone fix my nose. Mala's asleep in her bed, by the way. You can't really see her, but she's right there. You did just miss it, Ashtone. The story gave me so much content to draw. Well, I have another story now. It'll be on YouTube, edited down. Don't worry, Ashtone. Get Mala a prison outfit for Halloween. All right. Shall we tell the story of my trip to Virginia this weekend? There's a lot to go through. All right. So, this weekend, I went down to Virginia with my friend Mark. My plans for this weekend switched a lot. I was originally going to Buffalo to see the eclipse on Monday. And then I was like, well, I'll turn that into a fishing trip and I'll fish that weekend with friends and then, you know, meet with everyone for the eclipse on Monday. And then I was like, well, you know, people canceled, things didn't happen. And so then we were like, all right, well, we'll make it just a fishing trip. We won't even go see the eclipse. And then it was going to rain a bunch in New York. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm over it. We're going to Virginia. And so Mark and I, my friend Mark and I, also another life lister, a person who looks for new fish species, decided to go to Virginia and decided to hit up a bunch of spots to try and find fish. And we had a lot of interesting things happen and a lot of cool fish. We did not get arrested this time, but we did get screamed at in the middle of the night by a very angry man who we could not see from the forest. So a lot happened in this story, okay? So we started heading down to Virginia. We made a stop on the way, okay? And the first thing that we targeted was called a silver jaw minnow, which was about 4 hours into the drive on the area in between Maryland and Virginia. And we thought we had caught a bunch of silver jaw minnows. We took some pictures and then we left for the night. Turns out they were not in fact silver jaw minnow. They were all mimic shiner, which of course all look like silver jaw minnow. Mimic shiners mimic everything else. So it turns out we didn't even catch that. So we started the trip off on a big fail, but we didn't even know that until we got back recently, okay? Then we headed down to Maryland, and the first thing we did was... It's a good question. What was the first thing that we did in Maryland? I think we tried to catch longfin darter. So in New Jersey, we have something called tessellated darter. And a lot of the United States has tessellated darter or Johnny darter. And these are these like pretty ugly, even when colorful, they're just kind of dark darters. But there are darters closely related to them. Darters closely related to them called longfin darter, which are exceptionally beautiful. You'll see, if I show you the male and female here, the female just looks like a tessellated darter. They're quite ugly. They're just, you know, the typical tessellated darter thing. You can see a hint of like iridescence on the scales, but that's about it. But the longfin, the male, is crazy. And this is probably one of the craziest fish I've ever caught in terms of color. You can see the beautiful long second dorsal fin up there. You can see all of the beautiful iridescent on the fish, all the crazy colors, how dark everything is. I mean, this is an unedited photo. This is like absolutely ridiculous. The orange spottings on the fins. It's an absolutely gorgeous photo. Incredible fish, real big highlight of the trip. It was really cool. It was just a little creek in a park, and we caught it at like dawn at like 5 a.m. or something. And we're just like in people's backyards at a park in this tiny stream, like a really tiny stream, catching things this gorgeous. Got very lucky with that because Mark also caught a longfin darter. I actually found it for him and then he caught it. And his was not as pretty. This was his. Still pretty, still a colored up male, but not quite the same as the ridiculous thing that I caught here, which was pretty crazy. So it was a very beautiful, good way to start the trip. Good way to counteract us failing in Maryland, I suppose. Unfortunately, that would probably be the last time that we had good luck for the whole trip. We tried a few other things. We went to this one spot where I actually did pretty well. Mark did not do so well. I caught this spawning stone roller. Stone roller are a really common fish, okay? And they get all decently large, but you rarely see giant ones. This is a giant colored up male stone roller. And on his face, you'll see tubercles. He has these little tubercles, these bumps on his head that he uses to fight other males. All of these spikes on his head like a dinosaur that he uses to fight other males when it comes to breeding season. And you'll also notice this calloused beak of a mouth that he has. This is not normally what a stone roller's mouth looks like. They typically have a normal fish mouth. He has built up a gigantic callus on his lips from picking up so many rocks to build a nest. Imagine using your lips to build such a giant nest with so many rocks that you grow giant calluses on your lips. I mean, think about how long it takes you to build calluses on your hands from doing like rough work, and building calluses that big. Now imagine doing on that. And this was an over 8-inch fish. This is a ridiculous specimen of a stone roller, which is really cool to find. I also got a torrent sucker, the Bernia, which is a genus that I did not have, so that's pretty cool. New, genus of sucker that's only down there. I think there's only 2 at the Bernia, which is pretty cool. That spot went well for me. Did not go so well for Mark. I use a dip net. Mark uses a handheld rod to try and catch like little fish, and so he holds the bait in front of them and tries to get them to take it. And all of the sucker species, although there were many of them, they were not cooperative. So we would see them in the water, something like this. So we were headlamping in the middle of the night, and you'll see something like this sitting on the bottom, okay? And this is a torrent sucker. And so I have to figure out how to net this without it getting away from me. It's not a super shallow stream, so it's pretty difficult to catch this thing with a dip net. Mark presents bait in front of it. They were not taking the bait this night. He had a rough time. We ended up staying here for probably about 4 hours. It was pretty rough. How'd you take such good photos at night? My camera, my very expensive camera that I lost in the mud in the last story and have a new one now, is very good at adjusting for light. It's just good at adjusting for light. But I'm also wearing a headlamp, so it's not that dark in like the direction that I'm looking in particular. I also caught a giant Nokomis that we think is a bull chub, but we're not totally sure about that yet, which is pretty cool. These are the main mound builders. These guys take stones and they build giant rock piles that all of the minnows end up having babies on. Like all of the minnows in this area rely on these guys in order to have their reproductive seasons. They have their spawning seasons because these guys build giant nests and all the other minnows just throw their shit on it. Sperms, egg, whatever. And so you end up with all sorts of weird hybrids. And during the breeding season, you get it's just really amazing. If you can snorkel on a chub mound, if you ever have that opportunity, if you have Nokomis near you and you can find a chub mound, snorkel on it. It's incredible. You'll see the most beautiful shiners in the world. And one of those beautiful shiners that we were hoping to see was a mountain red belly dace. Now, mountain red belly dace get ridiculously pretty, okay? I'd have to find an example. This isn't the best photo, but this is an example of how crazy they get with this red and yellow and then the black on their bottom half. When these guys are on the chub mounds, they're incredibly beautiful. And so we were hoping to find one of that beauty caliber. Of course, that did not quite happen. Here's a gorgeous one. Here's another gorgeous one. They get incredible. These are just incredibly beautiful fish. So we were hoping to find something like this. Unfortunately, we did not come across one that beautiful. We found not horribly unpretty ones. This is Mark's. This is mine. They did have some red, as you can see. They were planning to color up. Mine had some yellow and green on the fins too, and some red on the top, but these were not quite as nice. This is iNaturalist, the website. All of my photos I post on iNaturalist, and so does everyone, so that's where I go to reference all of this stuff. This is my photo. This is Mark's photo. We didn't do bad. They were getting ready to color up, probably. These guys were getting ready for spawning season, but I think we were a bit too early, so they hadn't gotten colorful yet. Because they will turn on the color when it comes to spawning season. They're not that colorful all year round. It's the kind of thing that they turn on when it's time to get colorful, okay? And then we go to this amazing spot, really cool. I think it was part of the Roanoke River, okay? And I'm doing great at this spot. We're catching all sorts of crazy stuff. First of all, I'm in a pool of giant sucker. This is like a 1.5 foot long red horse sucker. This is a giant sucker. And I'm in this pool, and they're swarming me like sharks because it's a fairly small pool, and they can't get out of it because it's a riffle on either side. And so they're just all swimming around. There's like 10 of these giant suckers swimming around, hitting me on the legs, hitting me on the chest, just like running into me over and over again. And so I just was like, hey, let's see what happens. And I stick my net in the water, kick in a direction, and a sucker ends up in my net. And so I got a giant golden red horse, which is pretty cool. The biggest sucker I've caught by a while. Also got some pretty scarlet shiners. This is a reasonably pretty male. The crazy male that I caught was this one. Really nice iridescence on the sides, as you can see, and then the scarlet on the fins. So that's a pretty nice fish that I caught. And then the cool thing that was in this river that we were targeting was a close relative of the longfin. You'll remember how pretty the longfin darter was. Well, there's a close relative one river over called the riverweed darter. And so we were targeting riverweed darter, and we caught right at the end a really pretty one. So I caught some ugly ones throughout the night. So this is an ugly female riverweed darter. You can tell it's a riverweed, not a tessellated, by all of this patterning on the tail and on the fins, and then this like on the top of the dorsal fin here. It's pretty clearly a riverweed, but it's an ugly riverweed as far as that go. But then we catch one nice riverweed, one nice one. And you might be wondering, shit, if this is a nice riverweed, why did you take such an ugly picture? Okay, why didn't you take a better picture of it? And the answer is quite simple. As I pulled this riverweed out of the river, okay, and I go to put it in my photo tank to take a picture, I hear from the forest, "Get the fuck off my property!" Like, oh my God, my voice. I can't even replicate. It was so loud. This guy was like 5 feet away from me in the forest to my left and screamed like out loud profanity. "Get the fuck, you are on fucking private property, get the fuck." Now, let me preface this by saying we were not on private property. This river flowed through a park, okay? In all fairness to the person, this is nighttime. Mark and I are wearing headlamps and we're talking to each other. So in all fairness to the person, he probably lives somewhere nearby, heard voices outside his house, and then saw lights flashing or something like that. And so he, did his typical Southern man thing and got defensive about his property and went out to, go scare us off. And I very much got that vibe that he was just like yelling at us. He didn't want to talk or anything like that. Like I don't think he was actually angry. I think he wanted to seem angry to scare us off because he, in the middle of the night, it's scary to go out there and be like, "Hey guys, what are you doing? I'm like my property, like you're a little close to my house, So instead he just went with a full aggression approach. And so this was the only picture I got of the river weed darter as this guy is screaming, "Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of this river! It's fucking private property, you fucks!" And we're like, all right, man, we're leaving. And we're trying to walk out to get out back to the park. Even though, again, this is not private property. This is a publicly owned river. That this part of the river goes through a park. It's all publicly owned. Whatever. If someone yells at you in the middle of the night, especially in the southern United States, you get out of there, okay? Because we couldn't see him. All we could see was a light in the forest, and we could hear his voice. So he could have had a gun, who knows? Didn't want to deal with it, so we're just leaving. And we're like trying to climb up the riverbank on the other side to get out, and he's still screaming at us, slurring, sending profanities. So needless to say, even though I caught a beautiful river weed darter, I did not end up taking good photos of it because this was my safety photo. Before I take nice photos, I always take a safety photo in case something happens. Usually the something that happens is the fish jumps out of my hands and gets away from me or something like that. In this case, the something that happened was a very angry southern man in the forest. So I'm glad I got a safety photo, but I did not end up getting better photos of the riverweed, which is unfortunate. We probably would have caught a really pretty one if we had some more time there. But alas, the southern man strikes again. Got a few other colorful darters while I was there, including Roanoke darter. Not great pictures, fins not up, but you can see how fat they are. Pretty cute. I'm a big fan of them. Then we went to this fast-flowing river spot where I caught a ton of not sand darter, what I thought were sand darter at the time, but ended up being glassy darter. These are these like crazy elongate darters that have just evolved completely separately from sand darters and crystal darters. Have just evolved to be really long and live in the, in the fast-flowing waters on sand. Yes, I do listen to Birds with Merlin and eBird. I got 3 bird lifers during this in Virginia as well. So these are really cool. These glassy darters. So I caught a bunch of them. Mark was trying to catch one. He was unsuccessful. Did not end up catching one. And then we hit a few more swamp spots. I ended up getting my lifer flyer, which is a type of sunfish that we don't have in New Jersey. Got a really pretty one with the extended fin and all. So that was really cool. Hopefully, it's a lifer, so it's cool. Just nice to get a lifer. You missed that story, not Ender. I already told the arrested story. This is a different story. Also caught a white catfish and another flyer and all that. And then we headed north and we tried to find glassy darter for Mark in Delmarva in the Delaware, Maryland, Virginia Peninsula. There's a spot where there's still supposedly glassy darter, where they have, they're sitting in these like sort of sandy, murky rivers. I don't understand how they're surviving there, but they are surviving there. We didn't end up finding one. We did catch, or we saw this, which is a striped mud turtle, which is really cool. As I'm taking this photo, by the way, he is musking in my hand, meaning he is releasing a substance that smells absolutely awful. I smelt it and nearly threw up, because like musk turtles, they secrete. You can actually even kind of see it. No, you can't. That's on the side. But on my finger, he let it go out the bottom of his shell. He let out some musk, which is lovely. But it was cool to see it because that's a turtle I've never seen before. We don't have striped mud turtle in New Jersey. And yeah, there were a lot of fish we came across. There's a lot of fish I could talk about. Some very colorful fantails and all that. But that's pretty much the highlights. That's the interesting stuff. Here's what a glassy darter looks like underwater. I took an underwater photo after I let them go in the river. So they're really hard to see from above, but that's what they look like. Tried for some other fish that I didn't end up getting, like swamp fish and that kind of thing. Got some pretty darters, some pretty fantails. I hadn't seen such like giant and pretty fantails, which is cool, but that's about it for the Virginia trip. It was a good weekend. I had a great weekend with my friend Mark. Had a good time. Didn't get arrested. Did get screamed at in the middle of the night by a Virginia man, but didn't get arrested. And that is the end of that. And my face is so itchy that I'm going to blow up. I'm going to blow up. Now I'm probably going to play Tetris. I think that's the end of fish content for today because my voice hurts. So if you want to stick around for Tetris, feel free. If you're just here for fish content, have a good night. Yes, Ender, I'm wearing my jumpsuit, and you are the first person to make that joke. Thank you so much for your contribution to the stream. All right. What do you think of the Johnny Darter? No, that was fine. It's worse. His registration was expired. So true, it was expired. So I'm relearning Tetris right now. I'm trying to hook and line Glassy Darter in that nature preserve. Well, that's what Mark was trying to do because Mark is hook and line only. So he was trying to hook and line it in that nature preserve. And so we spent a bunch of hours there in Delmarva trying to get one. But it was during daytime, which I just feel like is not the vibe for a Glassy Darter. Okay, so I switched my A and B button. So I'm going to make like a lot of mistakes, chat. In terms of rotating. I've actually made very few thus far. Ah, I couldn't remember what to do. Fuck. I can't do that, like... Alright. So anyways, so fun story, chat. When I first... Oh, I did it wrong. When I first started playing Tetris, I bound the keys wrong in the Tetris emulator. I switched the A and B button around, which, although no big deal if you're playing on emulator, when I go to play at the World Championship this year, I will have to play with default controls because we'll be on actual TVs and all that, right? So I figured I need to relearn the proper controls. So I'm forcing myself right now to learn the proper rotations, which means that all of this is like, I'm currently playing on proper default rotations. I played a little bit last night to get used to it, but I'm still quite bad at it. I'm just not used to, especially like L's and J's. Ugh, I'm making decisions so light because I have to think so hard about... Like, I didn't mean to rotate that way. Do an impression of Stitch explaining his new hobby of practicing to make Ohana. What? I don't even feel capable of doing what you're requesting. What are you talking about? What have I missed in my absence? I don't know. I told some stories and now I'm playing Tetris. And trying to relearn rotation buttons. Ah, I couldn't think of what button to press. Yes, I escaped from prison. That is accurate. Ah, I pressed the wrong button. I couldn't decide. This keeps happening. I can't decide what the right button is. So, of course, I pressed the wrong one. Fuck. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate your stay out of jail fund. Yeah, snorkeling it is probably the way to go. They would... My guess is they're in the deeper spots, especially not during the... especially during the day. I'm having a lot of issue pressing that rotation button and rolling. This is really tough. I'd go to lower levels to relearn the controls. I don't feel too bad, Knight. I played lower levels last night, and I feel competent enough right now that this is fine. I need to force myself to make some quicker decisions to get the hang of it, I think. But I mostly feel fine, I say, as I fuck it up. I've mostly got the idea. I think I've got T's down. It's my big issue right now is L's and J's. But what I'm learning is just do the opposite of what I think I should do. And that's usually the right answer. Like that. A sandy area right where the creek... Marshy Hope. Yeah, that's where we were. We were actually in Sullivan Branch. But again, it was daytime. But, I mean, he searched for a good while trying to find it. Shit. AVNJs when I'm going fast is really hard. Ugh, I'm really struggling with pressing this button and rolling at the same time. It like puts my hand in an awkward position. Which is not an issue I've had before. Yes, they're letting me stream from jail. Ah, because the world needs my content so bad that even while locked up, they couldn't prevent me from streaming. I heard about it, Nate, because Rainbolt's there. I have not watched, though. I remembered. Opposite of what I think. Correct. I've got the T's. If I don't have to think too fast, I've got the T's down. Like, my T's are starting to feel natural. That still felt very unnatural, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there with that. That felt very unnatural. But look, that T, I didn't even think about that T. That T just happened. This might be my first 100K with switched controls. I just forgot what buttons to press. Whatever. We take the 100K. Whatever. I'm so annoyed at my nose right now. Why is my nose so itchy? I use one button to rotate. Yeah, not great. I am very used to the muscle memory, very entrenched in the muscle memory of what buttons I use for what rotation, and so it is very hard for me to switch back. To just switch what button I'm using to rotate each piece in what direction. But as you can tell, I'm not doing too bad. Do you believe in me yet, Knight? I'm nailing the T's. Whoops. Later, Pug Attack. Ugh, it's really just the L and the J that get me. Oh, I should probably switch the game to Tetris, yeah. How's the music versus mic levels, by the way? It's fine. Cool. Relearning rotation buttons switched. All right. No, that's 29 butterscotch, not 18. For a while, they were right. But alas, do not underestimate the gamer. It's so much easier to press one button double the amount. You'll feel that way until you get used to it. I'm very glad that that's something that I bit the bullet on early on. Because I could have, you know, I could have stayed with one rotation button and then I would have had to relearn that at some point, and it would have sucked. But when I first started playing the game, I was like, all right, if I actually want to get good at this, I should learn using both rotation buttons now. I wish I had realized... Good decisions. Still, like, failing my rolls. Oh, well. Yeah, I wish I had learned to rotate with the right buttons so I didn't have to relearn right now, but it's not a big deal. It shouldn't take me too long to relearn. I'm already doing, like, competently. Well, I'm not exactly doing fish right now. Shit. I can't look at chat. Ugh. But thank you, Retrobob. I'm worried for when I have to switch to roll. It's not that bad, man. You'll be fine. It truly did not take me that long to learn rolling, all things considered. I, like, fucked around with it half the time, but I feel like buying a controller would be easier. Yeah, buying a controller would be easier, but then that means that long term, every controller that I have to use for the rest of my life, I have to buy from Eric. And has to be custom. And what happens if Eric stops making them? Or Eric retires or whatever, you know? Then I'm going to have to... Then I'm going to figure it out myself, you know? So, shit. It just makes the most sense to relearn the controls right now. Not using my thumb for A and B? Oh yeah, I don't use my thumb for A and B. I use my middle finger. There's a question. Knight, do you press the rotate buttons with 2 different fingers? Or do you use 1 finger for both rotation buttons? I use both. Wait, both as in you use 1 rotation button for both, or you use 2 different fingers? Shit. Oh, 2 different fingers? Okay. I use 1 finger. I just use my middle finger for both rotation buttons. I don't think it's a big deal, though. Like, I can understand why it would be disadvantageous, but that's not whatever's caused me issues. What's happening this stream? I told some stories about some crazy stuff that's happened to me recently, and now I'm relearning the Tetris controls because I'm a dumbass and learned them with the wrong controls. Why did I think? I don't know. I'm getting pretty good. Honestly, I think I'm like an hour or 2 of gameplay off of being where I was. My only issue that I'm noticing right now is that I can't roll and press the 1 rotation button at the same time for some reason. It's not an issue I would expect to have, but I think it's because I'm thinking too hard about the rotation button. Hi, Nat. Because I'm thinking about it too hard, I press it early. Oh, shit. Hi, Nat. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of messages. I'm not even going to deal with it. I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm not going to deal with it. Just changing the music. Yeah, Eric makes controllers. He's also an incredibly good Tetris player. And I was going to have him make, because he didn't even have, like, what I needed. That's another thing, Knight. The, like, Goofy Foot controllers have, like, the D-pad switched as well that he makes. A controller with just the A and B button switched and everything else normal is not something that he normally makes. So in addition to having him have to make a controller for me every time, it would have to be a custom controller that he makes for no one else. Every time. Ah, shit. I don't know. From the way he explained it to me, that was the deal, is that he doesn't normally make those. It'd probably be very easy to make. Yeah, but why do that when I can spend, I don't know, 2 hours right now relearning the controls? I'll be exactly back where I was, and I will be able to use a default controller for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? I agree, it wouldn't be a huge deal to get, like, at least for now. Ah, that was wrong. When I try to think too fast, I fuck it up. Not the T's, though. I got the T's down. So, I'll just spend my few hours right now. I'll get used to it. My favorite Tetris block is T by far. Oh, that still gets me when I have to flip it to tuck. It was probably a bad idea to start relearning this when I'm going to have a match soon. Speaking of which, Knight, my opponent just has not responded. And we are halfway through the month. Talk to the mods about it. Well, right now I'm not upset about it because I'm relearning controls. But as soon as I'm ready, yes, I will be like, hey, I've gotten no response. I did it publicly in the scheduling chat. I added them, which I think is reasonable. Even if they have notifications like turned off for the Tetris Discord, they should still have reached out to me by now at least, or figured that I might have reached out to them through that. Fuck. I'm not thinking about the L's and J's enough. This is not good Tetris gameplay, Retro. I am currently relearning the controls, so I'm making a lot of very dumb mistakes. Like that. The main thing I'm worried about right now is the rolling. I need to figure out why that happens. Why, when I'm trying to rotate the one direction, do I fail rolling? No. No. Look at that. Jesus. Used to be. What happened? I think I've got the T's. I feel confident about the T's. I'm still fucking up the L's and J's every time, but that's fine. I'm the master of T rotations now. I don't even need to think about it anymore. I just think I press the direction of how I want the T to point. Fuck. Okay. Right button. No. Left button. Probably because you're thinking about more about the buttons and pressing harder. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my thought, Knight. I think I'm pressing harder and thinking more about every press. That's not the piece that fits there. It's never too late to come back. Okay, what do I need to do to be one of your favorite YouTubers again? Please help me fix my content, Retro Baba. Only you can help. Only you can save AVNJ now. Nah, not today, Erm. That felt natural. Some rotations of the L and like that felt natural. That felt like no big deal. Sometimes it feels like no big deal. Sometimes it still feels a little odd, a little off, but I'll get there. Ooh, bad parody. Why did I do that? Ugh, my rolling. Shit. When it gets too fast, I just default back to my muscle memory, and my muscle memory is currently wrong every time because I'm used to opposite controls. Sick. I will hopefully make that trip. I'm not 100% sure, though. I feel like I remembered having plans in August, but I'm not sure. I assume you're going, Knight? Fuck. Stop. I'm just like holding it down when I press the rotate button. Cool. Well, I am hoping to go get some local fish as well, you know. I'm not supposed to have like bought tickets for CTWC yet, right? I like check somewhat often, and I feel like there just hasn't been a thing. I've been looking. Aw, dude. All right, I have to start now switching how I think about it. Probably late April, early May. Okay, good to know. I wasn't sure if I was missing something or what, because they announced like the date and the location and all that. Usually that would mean tickets are available, but check for the expo tickets? What do you mean? CTWC is part of a larger venue, so what I need tickets for both? I mean, Melee tournaments are often like that. She's doing good. She's sleeping behind me right now. She had a big dinner and then fell asleep. All right, well, that's good to know. Thank you, Knight. Melee tournaments often function like that, too. Entry fee versus, you know, venue fee. Often two different entities. Fuck. Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this one's different because it's at a different place. I would rather die than listen to this right now. I think I was going to press the right direction there. I just thought about it for too long. That I pressed the wrong direction. That's fun. I know at Genesis they had Tetris. I wish I'd gone to Genesis. I actually considered going to Genesis that year for Melee, but by the time they had added Tetris to their roster, I was already confirmed not able to go. Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, it'd be really cool to be able to go to like a Melee major, Tetris major combined. I don't know if that'll happen again, at least anywhere accessible to me. Best carnivorous freshwater fish. I have no idea. But catfish isn't a species, so the answer wouldn't be catfish. It might be a catfish. Oh, I had it. I'm trying to purposefully play a little high for the purpose of like getting used to it a little faster. I could switch to 19, but it's fine. I'm getting the hang of it. I'm just a little slow. Like that. That happens often. Flathead catfish? Really? They're invasive here. So my opinion of them is a little bit soiled. Think I'm just pressing too hard, man. Think I just watched myself do it. Like I felt myself press too hard there. Nice. Good decisions. Press the right button over and over again. That's what we like to see. Wrong button, but whatever. Pressed a lot of correct buttons this game. I'm not too mad about one wrong one. I knew it. I knew that was wrong as I did it, but I did it anyways because I'm like trying to go against my instinct right now. Now I'm in the weird middle part where it's like I should be following my instinct because my new instinct is correct, but I'm still doing the thing where I go to the opposite of my instinct. It's a little confusing. This is probably going to be the toughest adjustment now, is like the middle part, where I can't just do the opposite of what I'm used to. I now have to actively do the right thing because I'm getting used to. Bad rotation twice. At the top. Around. The shimmer cracks my eyes. My head blinded up. It's been a pretty good one. I've had to do a lot of rotations and I've hit the right button every time. Now is when it get hard. Rotation and tuck. And I did it right. Wow. All right. We're making some progress, I think. Not on the whole rolling after rotation thing. That's what I keep up, Jason. And now I start doing the opposite again because the fucking chorus hit. I need chiller music. This music is pissing me off. My guess was this would take about 5 hours to relearn this. I'm probably about 2 hours in now, and I'm already, I think, close-ish to comfy with it. So, can't be mad about the rate of progress. Fish would you recommend for a first-time fish owner? I mean, the easy answer is a betta, probably. I don't think they're that hard to take care of. And they're pretty durable. Ah. 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 You're making that up. In fact, typically you should actively avoid having them with other bettas. There are exceptions, but for the aquarium trade, them being alone is typically preferred. What made you want to fish then, Pluto? Fucking hell. I look real stupid right now, but tomorrow I'm going to be on top, I swear. This feels like when I was learning rolling. I haven't had this feeling, I think, since I started learning rolling. Where it's just like I can't even competently put the blocks where I want them to go. Yeah, I knew that was wrong as I pressed it, which is good. Can't ask for much more than knowing it's wrong before you see that it's wrong. That means that I know that means that I have the right instinct building. It's just not settled in quick enough yet. Thank you, Thervingian. It should play the notification eventually. Unless it's muted for some reason. Is there... It says I have alerts. Well, thank you. I'll pretend. Bing! Boom. Tetris for Zach. That was my impression of Brian. Thank you, thank you. Bro. This light's getting a little bright. Any content making today? Yeah, I made 2 contents, Ghost Boy. Both were story times. One involves me getting arrested and one involves me maybe getting held at gunpoint, but we don't really know because it was dark out. It's been a crazy 2 weeks. Thank you, Mini Bisco. What actually did you get arrested for? Trespassing and having a vehicle that was not with registration. Private mud. So real, dude. Dude defended that mud with his life. I didn't even get to the fucking river. Yeah, yep. My fast instinct is still wrong. What were you trying to do? You mean right now? For the past... Since I've started playing the game of Tetris, I have had the controls bound wrong. And I have just not wanted to deal with the consequences of that, and so I haven't. And now I am finally facing the music and relearning the controls. So I currently have very little control over what rotations I'm doing because this is not the controls I'm used to. Everything is backwards in my head right now. It's hard to explain, but like imagine if one day your mouse, you had to press up to go, you had to move it up to go down and down to go up, or you know. Imagine if all of your mouse directions were just randomly switched one day. It would take you a minute to get used to it, especially when you're trying to do things quickly, like in a video game or something. That's how I used to play CS. Okay, well, now imagine playing the other way then. It's annoying. Point is, you get really used to muscle movements over the course of many months and then randomly switch. It's just what you get used to. And I was used to backwards controls without even knowing it. It's nice to, for the first time in a while, be held back by mechanical stuff rather than by my stacking. This is the first time in probably a few weeks at least where the thing that's holding me back from scoring is mechanical ability. I feel like in the last few weeks my mechanical ability surpassed my stacking ability by a lot. Fuck. I did not know it was private property. I missed a sign. Not that that always stops me, but in this case it would have because I didn't care that much. Yep, that is the point. Large mouth. It honestly ain't that large as far as the fish kingdom goes, though. I guess in freshwater. But there's some crazy large mouths in saltwater. Alright, I'm only going to play a few more minutes on stream because I feel like an idiot pressing all the rotation buttons backwards. I'd rather do this in private than show up to stream better. Nah, I don't know. There are definitely some fish that outdo it by quite a bit. There were solutions there. I just am bad. Let's see how 19 goes. We have to think real fast. That one I just double rotated. That issue wasn't even related. I think I was going to press the right button there. Hard to know because I didn't get the chance, but... Well, then what are we going to call the smallmouth bass, Aram? Smaller mouth? Micromouth bass. I can't believe there's a hybrid between largemouth and smallmouth bass, and we don't call it middlemouth. That's so stupid. It's the perfect opportunity to call it middlemouth bass Or normal mouth. Just call it mouth bass. We call it mean mouth. A mean mouth is a hybrid between a small mouth and a large mouth. It's dumb. It should be like middle mouth or average mouth or normal mouth. Relatively average size mouth bass. Exactly. That rolls off the tongue way better than mean mouth. Oh, wait, I just got it. Mean as in like the average. Wait, they were ahead of us the whole time. Wait, they're actually geniuses. Wait, we're the idiots. We're like, why don't they call it the average mouth? Meanwhile, they were calling it the average mouth. But better than us. Alright, that's enough on-stream Tetris for me. I will probably play more off-stream until I get used to this because I'm going to have a match soon. I'm going to have a competitive match soon, and I need to not shit the bed when that happens and be like in between rotation muscle memories. Alright, have a good night, everyone. Just finished an animation? What? She just meowed in her sleep and woke herself up. That's funny. I'll post in a minute. All right. Have a good night, everyone.